I realized after listening to the videos that I just recorded, somehow I did not connect my mic the way that I thought, but you can still hear me, so I'm going to publish this video, this first pilot anyways. This was just a little announcement before we begin this video. I appreciate you, and ahead of time, thank you for giving me the time to listen to watch. I appreciate you more than words can say. On to the scheduled programming. Testing, testing. I don't know if that means the speakers are on, so I'm going to turn them down. Anywho, all that matters is you can probably hear me. Anywho, welcome. How's it going? I am going to do a pilot episode of this podcast, and the name of this podcast will be whatever I post it as, because I cannot decide between one thing or another. I'm going to bring this mic away from my mouth so that's not so loud into your ears on the earphones or whatever you're going to be listening to this through. But greetings. Welcome. I am just going to try to do a little pilot episode because I have 3 podcasts in mind of what I am wanting to do. And the ones that I do want to speak about is either going to be, well, whilst we're here, or I'm going to start a whole new podcast called Justice Palette, which is going to combine into this, I have an idea on this website that I'm doing right now. It's going to be my little blog or my little newsletter, I guess you can call it. And I am letting the blog or the newsletter, whatever you want to call it, even if it's just articles, I'm letting that be my outlet of what I am focusing on, whether it's the day of, whether it's the week, whether it's the month of. Whenever I decide to post an article of the blog or the newsletter, that's going to be on my website. Guess what? I have a new website. By the time that this episode is posted, I'm going to say that the first portion of what I want to be published of the website will be up and live. So I will let you know it's going to be under this version of Jess.com. THISVERSIONOFJES.com. And yeah, I had this moment recently, and this is why I think this is most likely going to be my first pilot episode of Justice Palette. It might just even be called this version of Jess. I might just call it this version of Jess, and you can read the palette on your own free time, This is just brainstorming as we go, I guess. And for those that don't see it, I'm getting my lovely son into the camera view. For those that are just listening. Anywho, come here. Hi, how's it going? Is he purring? Let's see if I can hear it. It's hard to hear. I tried so hard to get a purr on this damn microphone. Let's see if I can make it do this. Hold on. Definitely not gonna work right now. Oh, that's why it didn't work. Come here. I want to... Don't bite that. It's a very nice microphone. Just listen. I want to get something. You could hear him doing this with his tongue. Hey, don't bite this. Be respectful of this mic. It's a really nice mic. Anywho, we got distracted. Hashtag ADD up in this bitch. I don't know if I'm going to begin this episode with the poetry song or not. If I did, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did singing it. I was just doing it for fun, honestly. I'm also trying to sing more. I've been told I have a good voice, And of course, with practice, I'm sure I can like tone in like what I want to do, vocally speaking. Other than that, I'm just gonna sing for fun for now. Let's get to this pilot episode though. Well, yes, I made myself get a little distracted just now, and that's fine. We shall not be hard on ourselves. This is a pilot. Honestly, this is a pilot of something I'm trying for the first time. And I am trying it without the lens of being so hard on myself. Meaning, I recently got so upset with... I had filmed an episode for one of the podcasts I'm going to be eventually airing, which is, or stream, like letting it out into the world. It's called Whilst We're Here. And I got so upset recently because I filmed like maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours. I think it's actually on the brink of 2 hours. I sat there and I tried to film maybe it was 1 hour, but it was at least an hour and a half, of footage. I sat there and filmed an hour and a half of footage. And keep this in mind, this is like a couple episodes and it's not one of the first episodes ever. I have those somewhere and one of my memory cards somewhere. If I don't have that footage, I will just make new footage at this point. But for that specific podcast that I'm going to be making, it's about my life updates. But while I am going through certain experiences that I find myself in, especially in my low points, my low peaks, I would like to call them. Like, the roller coaster. We got the high peaks and the low peaks. And in those low peaks, I filmed my first ever episode when I had my hand injury last year. And for those that aren't in the loop of what I mean by that, I'm going to try to give a quick rundown of what happened last year. So last year I was in Indianapolis, Indiana. At the time I was working at a movie theater as a bus/runner and then a bartender. But I had my main job that I was mainly focused on because it had more income than the other roles that I was doing at the movie theater. But at this specific, the other job I'm trying to speak of, it's actually at a bar, an arcade bar, 16-bit, Indianapolis, Indiana. At this bar though, I was a bar back at the time, and this was on St. Patrick's Day, whatever you want to call it, March 18th, I believe it's March 17th, but I was bar backing, and during the bar backing, you have one of your tasks for the job itself is to clean the glassware that gets dirty. After patrons or customers, one might say, are done with drinking their beer or whatever alcoholic beverage, even like the mocktails, whatever beverage that they drink, they're done with the glass. Okay, cool, let's clean it, And keep in mind, this is St. Patrick's Day. St. Patty's Day is probably, I would say, more alcohol involved than New Year's. And you know how many people go out on New Year's? But if you think about how many people went out on St. Patrick's Day, after working at St. Patty's Day at a bar, my first experience with that was not, it was going good, and then we were nearing the end of like the crowd, the St. Patty's crowd. It was finally starting to filter out. So here I am just cleaning this glassware, and I went to go pick up two that I had stacked. And keep in mind, it was one of those freshly hot watered, washed glassware, 2 pint glasses stacked. And when I went to go put a Pilsner glass or 2 in this dedicated areas that they go in at this bar, I went to go pick up these 2 pint glasses. And I don't know if it was just the sheer force of the energy of St. Patty's Day on top of this having been freshly hot from the water that I just put in, because you have to, as soon as you fill the water, side note, as soon as you feel the water even get remotely cold or lukewarm, you gotta change the water and put fresh soap and whatnot into it, you know? You gotta just put the fresh whatever you need to put in and make it as hot as you can in order to wash the next set of glassware that you're washing. From the side note, going back to what I was trying to tell you about, when I went to go pick up these 2 pint glasses, I don't know what it was, but it was quite honestly a freak accident. I really think that's my genuine belief as the person that experienced this accident. I went to go pick it up and I grabbed the bottom, like I usually do, and the top glass. And amongst doing that, I guess, and with the energy of St. Patty's Day, on top of it being freshly hot from washing it, I don't know if it's because my hands were slightly cold after coming out and putting some Pilsner glasses away, but I went to go back and pick it up, went to go put it into the pint glass area that we have, and it broke in my hand. The 2 stacks or the 3 stack of pint glasses, I think it was 2, but it broke in my hand. It might have also been the spot for which we had it, I don't know, but it broke in my hand and all I hear is a big crash. I'm like, where the fuck did this happen? I looked behind me because I thought it was so loud that I thought it was behind me. And then I just look at my hand. I looked at my hand and I'm like, this is a lot of blood. Keep in mind, this was happening within seconds. Somehow I processed all this in the way that I did so quickly. I heard the crash. I looked behind me. I'm like, what broke? Is it behind me on the floor? And lo and behold, it was in my hand the whole time. And the reason I didn't know it was in my hand, I'll tell you in a minute why. But I sat there and I was just like, oh my God, it broke in my hand. It's the first time I've ever dealt with glass breaking in my hand like that. And I saw the blood start leaking from my hand, you know. And from there, I knew with the amount of, and I know this, I'm just leaving y'all a warning. I'm going to talk about more about this if you guys don't like gory details. Try to fast forward some, and then hopefully I'm done talking about it. But when I looked at my hand, I was just like, oh my God, the amount of blood that was coming out of my hand. I didn't know what had happened. I didn't know where the cut was. That's how much blood was coming out. And it was a lot compared to a normal, you know, when you work with glassware, you will know that you get some cuts here and there. Fine. You don't need stitches, you know. It's here and there you'll get some scratches or cuts, you know. But when I made eye contact with that blood coming out, I said, oh, it didn't take me 1 second to fucking be like, okay, I need to go. I need to run. So I kind of just left the scene behind, the crime scene of my hand behind. I ran downstairs because this place is 2 stories, right? I happened to be upstairs doing the bar backing. And I had ran downstairs. 1 second it took me to get downstairs, and I was just like, I was glad that the manager that was there that night, who knew what to do instantaneously. I ran downstairs. I went to the back of house sink. I started washing my hands. It was just coming. The blood was just so overwhelmingly oh my God. I felt like I was gonna die. That's how much blood I was bleeding. And the manager helped me. That was one of the managers that were the floor managers, I should say, helped me. And he just helped me wash the rest of my hands. He got a lot of paper towels, wrapped my hand with a lot of paper towels and whatnot. And then we had to hold my hand above my head And he found me getting weak, right? So he held my hand up, and shout out to you if you ever see this. I'm not going to say your name for privacy reasons, but he held my hand up as I was getting weak. And I was just, as soon as I sat down on whatever I sat down on, while he held, it was like a bucket upside down, I sat down and I was just like, I need to sit while I process what the hell just happened, because it happened so quick. I ran so fast. I was just so overwhelmed with like, oh my God, what the fuck is happening right now? And amongst doing all that, I will tell you why it didn't process that I just injured my hand. Because through this accident that I experienced, it pretty much, because I'm going to get quick to it, it cut my tendon in my pinky, and I have a little scar under the ring finger of my left hand, but the pinky that it hit tendon wise, I am a part of the population that only has one tendon in my pinky fingers. And functionality wise, when you cut straight through a tendon, it could actually affect the rest of your hand if you don't get surgery, or if you don't get surgery to like at least get the tendon to the tip of your finger type thing. It's different for everyone that injures or cuts straight through a tendon, depending on if you are a part of that population with the one tendon in your fingers, or at least your pinky finger. But it also did nerve damage. I still don't feel the complete nerves that I probably should, even though it's almost a year later. Almost, because it's like February when I'm filming this. Oh my God, next month it will be a fucking year from that experience. With that being said, though, I found myself, I do want to shout out someone on this, from that night in general. I ended up becoming friends with someone I cherish so much, and this is someone that's going to be a lifelong friend. It's one of those friends that I feel like we'll check in on each other every 6 months or so, and I'm just so grateful to you. That night gave me my homie for life, Jenica. I'm so grateful for you. Shout out to you, because she took me to the ER. And she didn't even know me. She just took me to the ER. She's just hands down amazing that night for me. She actually sat in the ER hours until other people could show up and support me and be there for me as well. But she sat there with me. We got to know each other. Because I thought that I was just going into that ER thinking, oh, I just need stitches. It wasn't until the end of the ER visit that I got the news that I had probably cut my tendon and I have to see a certain specialist for my hand. And it made me laugh, because I'm probably sure it made Jenica laugh too, but as soon as I got that news that, hey, it might not just be stitches that you need, you might have to see a specialist for more. They thought that my tendon was cut, but they didn't. They were just like, we're not sure. Please go get it confirmed by a specialist type thing. And as soon as I went out the room to get someone to do my stitches, I'll tell you who that is in a minute, but I just looked at Jenica. I'm like, I'm gonna cry now. So I just started crying. I'm like, because I went from thinking, oh, I just need stitches, to I don't know what the fuck this means, to my life just changed for 180. I also remember my life like flashing in front of my eyes when this was happening, when I had that 1 second of, oh my God, I need to run downstairs. I ran downstairs so fast that I don't process how the fuck I did it, even now to this day. However, even when that happened, I just looked at my hand. I said, I just knew, my intuition was like, oh my God, this is about to do a 180 in my life and change everything for what I know it to be. And let's face it, I wasn't really close to anyone that I am now had that accident not happen the way it did. And I'm not saying that had to happen in order to get where I am now. I'm just grateful that through that accident, through that experience, it brought me the community that I ended up receiving going forward. Because I wasn't able to do the movie theater jobs afterwards, and then I became a host at the arcade bar while I had to do my rehab, which took at least 6 months or so, give or take. And within that, I was able to spend more time at the bar, and I pretty much got close to what I would call my soul family. And I'm so grateful to you guys. Oh, I totally distracted myself. I was gonna say I'll get to you in a minute about the person that gave me stitches. I'm actually friends with them still. We follow each other. We're acquaintances through social media, and her name is Emily. I'm going to link her Instagram so you can give her a follow. And if you like yoga, or if you're curious and she's doing yoga in your area, I think she's in Texas right now, maybe Houston, I don't know. But if you want to give her a follow, definitely give her a follow and support her and let her be your instructor one day. I haven't done it with her yet because she actually moved to Texas not long after us getting to, I think she moved to Texas when I moved back to Florida. It was really like close together. But one day I will give her class a try. I'm going to get a class done by her one day. But shout out to her. Shout out to Jenica. She's my homie for life. Homie for life, brother. I like that where this pilot's going so far. Finally got to talk about that experience. It took me 6 months though of rehab to get my full functionality back. And then for those that can't see, I'm showing the camera that I have my right hand pinky straightened out. I'm just showing. And then the left hand that got injured, this is what it looks like. And for those that can't see, I have I think it's called a PPI, which is a permanent position injury. So my finger's going to have a permanent angle to it. But I had the full functionality back from doing the rehab. And I personally believe the PPI is like the way it is because it took them a week to get me in. A week or so, maybe two, to even get the surgery done. And when you have an injury like that, you're gonna want to... Oh, if you heard that beep, that was Fortnite. It finally downloaded on my Xbox. But when you have any type of injury that serious, try your best to book the surgery as soon as possible. I realize when I say this, insurance does matter, and then my situation was a work comp situation, so I'm trying to be mindful of that when I say that. But do your best to get the surgery as soon as possible if you're able to do so. I say if because with our healthcare system in this country, amongst other things, child. Yeah. For those that can't see, I'm looking for, oh, my controller's over there. That's okay. I had a somewhat productive day today. I did a lot of chores that needed to be done. I was able to do my laundry. I washed the dishes. I'm waiting for the last load to dry because there's a pair of jeans I'm gonna wear tomorrow. Today I did my third article that's going to be posted or for the blog itself for Jess's Palette, whatever you want to call it. I call it palette. And what is Jess's palette, first of all? For those that haven't seen the website yet, and if you do want to check it out, I'm going to have the description on the tab itself once you click onto that page within the website. But Jess's palette, let's get to it. Jess's palette is, out of nowhere, I was just like, I want a cool name for like whatever I do, newsletter / vlog on my website. I want something that's catered to something that would just be what you would expect on my website. If you know me as a creative person that I am, the multifaceted person that I am, I wanted to cater to that. And I was trying to think of all these things. I'm like, maybe I could just say this version of Jess, even though that's the name of my website, even though that's what I'm rebranding myself as. Because recently I was Creative Jess, and I actually just did that rebranding not too long ago, within the last year to now. I really do resonate with that part of me still, the Creative Jess. However, there was just something itching at my brain. I'm like, I need to expand upon just the creativity, you know? And with that being said, that's how this version of Jess came to life. I'm not gonna lie, I was listening to This Version of You by Odessa, and I was sitting there. I'm like, my brain, there's an itch that I can't quite itch with this rebranding I did. And I'm like, no, I need to expand even farther. And this version of Jess was birthed. It was born to the light, my dudes. And what is this version of Jess? I know I kind of skipped over Jess's palette, and I'll get back to that, but my brain wants to think about this version of Jess before I do so. This version of Jess. There are so many versions of me that I would like the world, or even just my close people, to experience from me to you, and from myself to myself. Like, I keep rebranding, and I'm just sitting here like, I want to rebrand to where I don't have to rebrand anymore. And of course, I would be unrealistic to say that I will never rebrand again, but I feel like this is the expansive rebrand I was looking for upon rebranding myself. I have gone through so many different versions of myself upon the rebranding part, and I'm like, oh, I need to just slow down and find one that I can just stick with and let it be the main expansive rebrand title of what I can do for now. And that's why I came up with this version of Jess, because I'm going to continue changing. I'm going to continue evolving. I'm going to continue rebranding, but I wanted a rebrand that would honor that. And there's this other part of me where there's that thing that people will say, if you're going to do a TikTok account, if you're going to do a YouTube channel, if you're going to do anything focus wise, no matter what platform it is, they always say you got to pick one niche, and that never resonated for me. I have a niche dedicated to niches, and that's where this ties into this version of Jess. It's like, I would love to be able to express in the multifaceted way that I am, rather than just honing my focus on the creative side of me, rather than just honing the focus on the everyday focuses I have, like the music that I listen to, or the book I'm reading, the show I'm watching, the movie I just experienced, the podcast that I'm listening to, it's just everything. It's like, I just wanted to focus on the niche of all niches that I have, and I wanted to be able to express through every version of myself, rather than just do one niche or one version of myself and focus on just that, because I feel like I'm muting the other parts of myself that want to be seen by the world. Damn, I feel like I dropped the bar. Because let's face it, I am multifaceted in the sense that I do photography. For those I can't see it, I moved my camera up to see the photo that I took on the wall right there. That was in an art exhibit once. I love making videos, editing them. I love to draw and sketch, which I haven't done in a minute, but I do portraits really well. If I do say myself, I've done a really amazing Marilyn Monroe one. I clearly am doing the podcast right now. This is one of my things I've been wanting to do. I love to, I have a degree in graphic design. I would like to highlight those skills. I'm a gamer. I would like to show that side of me. I love to read. I love to share what I'm reading to others. That's pretty much knowledge for us to keep growing. I love film. I love watching movies. I love watching shows, but eventually I would love to direct my own movie one day. Which then goes into, I love writing. I am an author. I just have not published any books yet of mine. I have not published any poems of mine. I do poems. I'm a poet. I just love poetry in general. I just have so many things, and eventually I'm going to be getting back into sports as well. That's another part of me that's going to be coming back to life. I love making social media assets through graphic design. I'm trying to think of if there's anything I haven't mentioned. There's painting. There's just, I have a hobby dedicated to all hobbies where I love to learn. That is one thing you're going to find out about me, is I love to learn, and I think that's why I cannot stay to just one focus of how I want to be outlet-wise when it comes to a niche, when it comes to a hobby, when it comes to just a version of myself. Ooh-wee, child. I know there is much more that I could speak about when it comes to hobbies, but I feel like we're going to segue into something else. I don't even have a script or any notes of what I want to go through. This is honestly just a pilot episode of trying something for the first time and actually getting it out there for people to view for their own pleasure. My pleasure. Oh my gosh. So, for those that don't know me, I have a cat. I have a son named Rocky. I adopted him at the animal shelter in Orlando, Florida. Orlando represent up in this house, so I was born in Orlando too. This little baby right here. He was 5 months old when I got him. And then I ended up adopting him on, which day was it? Sheesh. Which day was it, bud? I adopted him. Okay, it was on November 5th that I adopted him. So he was 5 months, so I went 5 months back. So I said that he was born on, let's see. He was born on June 5th. That's what I say his birthday is. Only because I adopted him on November 5th and they said he was 5 months old. So I went back 5 months. I'm like, your birthday is on June 5th. So he's my little cancer baby. Wait, no, it was July 5th. My bad, dude. I knew it was one of those. But he's my little cancer baby. I'm a Pisces sun, for those wondering. Capricorn moon, Scorpio rising. My Scorpio rising makes people intimidated. For those that believe in the zodiac. I personally believe in the zodiac. But I do believe there are stereotypes to each zodiac, you know. It's more so when you get into deeper conversations of zodiacs and the astrological signs and just everything that goes into astrology, there's a deeper aspects to it if you actually study like natal charts and stuff, versus like the stereotypical slander that gets put on zodiacs, you know what I mean? because it's not just the one sign that defines you, as some would like to say, and that's where the slander comes in, or the stereotypes. It's until you educate yourself about certain things and you were like, there's much more depth to a certain subject. And I feel like this is part of me and what I'm going to do with this podcast on top of the other ones I have in mind. I just have this deeper depth. I love to just understand I love to just experience the deeper depth of everything, because I'm not a surface level person. Let's face it, surface level shit just drives me a little, not insane, it irks me a little, because I'm like, if it's surface level, I'm not going to allow myself to put the energy into something. I'm not going to invest my energy into something if it feels too surface level. And that's why I'm kind of done playing myself small. I am done with the whole, I'm not as smart as everyone, or I'm done playing dumb. I'm done playing things as small, I'm actually much more intelligent than I express myself to be. It's even down to the vocabulary I use. Like, for example, I am someone that believes in manifestation, but not in as one would call a guru. I can't say that word. Guru. A guru. The pronunciation was not going to come through for me. But a guru. I'm not like a guru or like all light and love type manifestation girly type thing. Girly pop. But I am more of I believe energy is alignment. And you have to see it for what it is in order to understand why you are repeating a certain loop. But also, when it comes to desires, there's such a deep depth to this that it would take at least 5 lesson plans, if not more, to understand one part of a manifestation technique. And I say this from years of learning so far. I'm like, oh wow, I'm unlearning so much that I learned growing up, all these conditionings. And it really comes down to the words that you say. While yes, what you think doesn't really come to life in a second like that. However, it's the amount of times that you repeat a certain thought that's going to manifest into your day-to-day lives or your day-to-day habits, and you don't even see it for what it is until you sit down and either take yourself more serious. And I say it like that because a lot of people don't take themselves serious. I didn't take myself serious. I kind of just let myself become airplane mode. And then last year I noticed it wasn't an airplane mode, because airplane mode is as soon as it's like you're waking up in the Matrix when you realize how each minute decision that you make, each minute habitual routine action that you take in your day-to-day life. It comes to the decisions that you make. It comes to the mindset that you have. It comes to your habits that you do. It comes to the chances that you take or the risk that you take. Or are you going to sit there and repeat a certain cycle? But it also comes to your mindset and how you view things. If you are in this mindset of, you set the tone for the day. You're like, I'm probably gonna have the worst day of my life type thing. You don't realize you're doing it to yourself. You really don't realize you're doing it to yourself. It's like you find a reason to complain about every little minute detail of a certain experience that you have, or a certain situation, or a certain person that's now affecting your mood only because you allow them to, first of all. And secondly, you're allowing someone else's actions to affect yours. And for what? And for what? You don't realize you're the one that's allowing them to quote unquote take your energy to begin with. You are investing your energy, whatever you focus your mind on. And I actually recently I posted a post that I actually made for my New Year's post, but I never posted it for New Year's Day. I was like, it doesn't need to be posted right away. I'll just post it whenever. But I posted it in January. I made this design. Where is it? It says, "We don't see things as they are. We see things as we are." And the quote is by Anaïs Anaïs for those that want to look into the reference that are listening. I posted this on January 16th, but I made it in November. I was so excited to get it out there, but something told me to just post it this year. When it comes to what we view, you gotta think about what you're saying. You also have to be mindful of what you're thinking. Just allow yourself to listen to your thoughts the best way you can, whether that's just brain dumping on a piece of paper, brain dumping in a notes app on your phone, or taking a video and just saying whatever's on your mind out loud. Don't even pause. Just, even if you have moments of blankness, just allow the flow to happen however it happens. Don't try to force yourself. Just say whatever's on your mind, even if it's just I'm hungry right now. I'm gonna do an example right now, so let's just try to brain dump really quick as an example so you can utilize it as a tool for yourself. I'm hungry right now. I am worried that I am not going to bed on time, and I know this is a habit that I'm to focus on. It's midnight right now. I have been worried about finances. I'm looking at the snowman right now. In this exercise I'm doing right now with you guys, I'm brain dumping, but I'm also allowing myself to focus on the areas around me, oh, that's a tripod right there. I allow myself to also, when I'm doing this exercise, to bring out the details of whatever I'm looking at, so it can bring me in the moment of now, in case I'm having an anxiety attack in my brain where my thoughts are just running too much and I'm not able to focus. A lot of times the way I allow myself to focus is to focus really hard on the details on whatever I'm staring at. So for example, if you are not able hearing, or if you're not able seeing, allow yourself to focus on whatever noise is around you, if you have hearing as well, or if you're able hearing, I should say. But tripod wise, I am just staring at this tripod. There's the black and silver colors on it, for those that can see colors. Now I'm looking at all of these pictures. I'm thinking about how life flashed by. I'm a children in these pictures. I'm a child. And now I'm thinking about how if I'll have children one day, whether I have my own, I'll probably adopt. No, I'm most likely adopting. I don't know if I'll have kids from my own body, because I have no idea if that's possible yet because of the scar in my stomach. I'm sure it is. But I also want to make sure I can if I'm even fertile and whatnot. If not, we'll go from there. I would like to adopt kids though, for sure. Have my own children that I can, did not mean to drop that. That I can, I felt like a cat just now. Knocking shit off the fucking whatever it's sitting on. But I don't even know where I was. I distracted myself, and that's okay. Usually in the past, when I would say, I don't even know where it was, I used to shame myself, and I would be like, oh wow, look at you not remembering anything. I was so mean to myself. I would just be so hard on myself and be like, wow, you're over here distracting yourself. I would just be so disgusted with myself, and it would be so alarming. I'm like, oh wow, you think like this? No wonder it's manifesting into your habits, and no wonder your habits are manifesting into like this self-deprecating view on life. And because the way I would think would turn into the actions of my habits, like little habits, it would then, like, I would wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and then because of that, I then would have this mindset of, oh my god, I hate my life, I don't want to do this anymore, I don't want to work at this place anymore, I just hate everything. I'm laughing for those that can't see me. I'm shaking my head because I'm over here judging that version of myself. Wow, that version of myself. I love how that just tied in, and I didn't even try to do that. Like for now, I literally was about to judge and shame that version of myself because they were a lost person. They did not have the tools that I have now. That version of myself used to treat people like shit. I'm still learning. Not like this version of me right now. I'm still learning. But that version, I used to be very, because I was so mean and hard on myself, I would treat people the same way, if not in their face, but behind the scenes, and it was not so nice. I was very mean. That was a very mean version of myself, and I'm not judging when I say that. I'm just trying to be aware of it now as I go, because I was so caught up in my self-hatred for myself. I'm just now saying this out loud for the first time. I love that this episode went from boom 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 to boom to this. Yeah. If anyone's curious about my scar, I'm probably gonna do a video or something one day when it comes to this, like a little documentary. But this will be a trigger warning to some. It involves gun violence. So if you don't want to hear this, you don't have to. Just fast forward a few minutes or so. I can't give you a time frame of how many. I will try to stick it to 3 minutes to 5 minutes. Do 5 minutes just in case. So to be as quick as I can, because I know that when I say that, sometimes I'm not as quick as I could be. When I was 2.5 years old, I was in an accident. It was just myself. I went into this closet, and it had guns in it. All of the guns except for one had a bullet stuck in the chamber. And to be as quick as I can, that specific gun, when I went into this closet, and I will be more detailed in a documentary or whatever type of video or expression of media I decide to publish this experience of mine in. I had fallen, and in the process of falling, it just triggered the bullet that was stuck in the chamber of the gun, the only gun that had a bullet in it too. It released into my stomach, and that's how I got a big scar on my stomach. Growing up, I had a lot of insecurities when it came to the scar on my stomach, and now that I'm older, I just see it for what it is. I'm like, it's a miracle that I'm here. I also know that I died and I came back to life for reasons beyond the unknown. It's quite wild to think about because I have memories from that day. I don't remember what it feels like. For anyone that's going to ask, no, I do not remember the pain I felt that day. I had an out of body experience, and because of that out of body experience, I believe I died. And certain other memories I have from that day that do not add up, I know I died. From the angles of how I remember it too, because I have this memory of the out of body experience where I'm like viewing myself from above, from how it happened. I remember my memories of me looking down at my body. Like, I remember doing it and then, like, it, not me doing it, but it happening the way it did. Me falling back onto the area that I fell onto. And I looked down, I quote unquote passed out. I know I probably died and not died, but I was close to the brink of death, but enough so to where my out of body, I felt like my soul exited my body. So I was able to view myself from this top view. I'm looking down from the roof or the ceiling where I was. And I remember going from point A to point B. I floated. That's the best way I can explain it. I glided to point A to point B. So point A at the scene where it happened, to point B, the hospital that saved my life. I just remember floating, not really seeing. I remember that floating feeling. And I asked my mom, my biological mom, I asked her, I'm like, did I fly in a helicopter that day? Because I remember the feeling of flying that day. And the best way I can explain it is that my soul was being carried with my body. Somehow my soul was tethered to my body still, but I was floating. Y'all can hear the background, the dryer in the background. I had to stop it, and I'm at this new part of the recording. I'm gonna leave this raw because I don't want to edit too much of it, so you guys can see like it for what it is. I'm probably not gonna film too much longer so that this pilot doesn't get too long for people to watch or listen to, but I know that people will enjoy it nevertheless. So I felt, from where I think I was last, I felt my soul was tethered to my body from point A to point B. I remember floating that day. I thought I was in a helicopter being airlifted to the hospital itself, but I remember being carried that day. I remember floating. I remember seeing my body from above, so I know I had an out-of-body experience to begin with, but I remember being at point A, then it just went blank. This is why I think I died on the way to the hospital. I went blank, and then I remember waking up in the hospital bed. I think it was maybe a few weeks after, because I put my mother and my biological mother and my father through some shit that day. Because right when I wake up, the memory that I have was being intubated, and being a toddler, I went to go pull that shit out. Made them panic. They ran and got doctors, and then I remember going back to sleep. I have some memories between then and now, but I don't have memories from before that accident. I don't know if the trauma of the accident like shut that down, or just because I believe I died that day, I might not have memories from before that day. I don't know if dying that day like made my memories disperse from my brain, or I don't know. There's probably a reason behind it, and I can research into it. Anywho, I could totally do ASMR with this, guys. If you want ASMR, let me know. Oh shit, I have my chocolate milk I have yet to drink. Here we go. Let's do some ASMR for people. Okay, cool. I did some ASMR for people. I drank some True Moon chocolate milk. If anyone wants to spot. This is where I realized trial and error that the mic was just not working, because I fast forwarded it to that part to see like, oh, how does the ASMR sound? Just out of curiosity after I finished filming, and then I was like, oh, the mic I didn't figure out the mic aspect for some reason. Usually I'm good with tech, I'm just tech savvy. But this specific instance, I filmed a whole episode not realizing the mic was attached like I thought it was. Trial and error. So, moving forward. Sponsor me. True Milk can sponsor me. And then Mr. Pibb. And then Dr. Pepper. Anywho. I will go into details whenever I make whatever expression of media that I want to in regards to that day. And I know I talk about this, like, it doesn't faze me, but that's because I lived with the experiences, and I'm now in a place where I can talk about it without it affecting me emotionally speaking or mentally speaking. For the longest time, when it comes to the scar on my stomach, I was so insecure about it because I wanted to have a belly that didn't have a scar in it. I wanted to have like a flat belly with a belly button. I think I have a belly button, but it's like man-made with the scar that they gave me, and I'm not upset about it because I look at the scar and I'm like, wow, that was a miracle. I'm here somehow. And part of that is why I believe that there's something more. I don't have a specific religion. I'm not going to ever, I don't think. I am a part of this queer religion. I don't know what that is right now, but there's a name for it out there. I'll get back to that one day. Can't make any promises, but anywho, I'm not really affiliated with any type of religion. I don't really what's the word? I don't support the ideologies behind certain religions. I don't really care for how people use religion as a weapon. They use it to spread hate when that's not really what that should be about. And yes, I'm making a judgment when I say the word should. It should not be about that. Let's see. Do I believe in like let's see what I believe in. I'm on a spiritual journey, but the more I'm on this journey, I realize it's not really about being spiritual. And everything I learned through this experience of being a human body, I just realized, the more I learn, the more I'm like, I don't know shit. The more I know, the less I know, you know? I used to be one of those, I was filled with so much ego, and well, yes, we're always going to have the ego, you know? You have to just learn how to utilize it as a tool rather than abusing it or using it against other people for your own advantage. And I was so filled with my ego. I was so full of shit. Everything I knew better than anyone else. The word better, oh my god. I thought I was just higher than above thou. Oh, did I learn some things? Oh, did I unlearn some things too? Ooh, wee child. Oh, It's already 12:19. Damn. Time goes by when you're enjoying it. When you're enjoying yourself, I guess. This is something I need to speak on, and then I'm probably gonna end the episode so it doesn't get too long. Let's just be like an hour and a half. But let's speak about this. Let me speak about this. Oh, crap, before it flies through my head. Oh no, I'm gonna forget it. I don't want to forget it. One thing I've learned, when it comes to ease, I used to force myself to do certain things until, can you hear me? Oh, Lord, my mic went in and out. I don't know if it was just my headphones though. Damn, am I not supposed to, I guess I'm not allowed, okay, my intuition is saying that I will file that away for another episode where I can actually talk about it during the whole episode. So I guess that's what this next episode is going to be about. Okay, that's so weird. My shit's cutting in and out. Okay, that's actually really weird. Okay, I'm taking that as a sign from the universe that I'm to just make a whole episode about this subject, and this is how I'm going to end this video. It's about ease and how trying to figure out a good way to explain what I want to say without going too deep into it, so I can just do a whole episode on it. So ease versus force, and then also going into how with life, as you get older, you're able to see where the things with ease, we take them for granted, whereas with the force, with the things that we try to force ourselves, or if we're forcing someone to be in a relationship that they don't want to be in, or like, just the word force and the word ease, I feel like I should focus on what they mean, like go into the meanings of the words, because with these podcasts, I would love to dive deep into the connotative meanings, into the definitions of words, or as well as how people utilize the words or the way they use the words. I don't think I'm just going to focus on the ease and the force aspect in the next episode, but I think I'm going to focus on the connotative meanings of words, and then the way that people either utilize them or use them or abuse them. Those are the 3 words that I want to focus on for this next episode as well. I think it's cool that the universe is like, no, just segue into your next episode with that being your focus, and then so forth. That's so cool. I'm glad it worked out that way. Or I'm glad it aligned that way. See, I am focusing on the words that I use. When you use the word work versus like align, I've been replacing the word work with align for the connotative reasonings behind how I utilize the words, or how I would use them, or how I would abuse them. I love this little segue that we're going to be doing. Anywho, I really enjoyed making this pilot of this very new podcast. Very new, because I just kind of made a new title on the spot. I said, you know what, we're not going to do Jess's palette anymore. I'm just going to go straight into this version of Jess, so that people can just get a vibe. They can catch a vibe. They can do what me and Willow like to sing. I'm kidding. Just what Willow likes to sing. Got a vibe. I know the lyrics. I'm just being an ass right now. Got a vibe. Alright, guys. Let's let this be like an hour or so episode. First pilot of I'm really giving y'all a Midwestern goodbye right now. I may have lived up north for like 2 years, but the Minnesotan accent will come through sometimes, and then my Midwestern goodbye from Indiana will come through as well, and I'm like, well, shit. Well, shit. Well, whilst we're here. Love that I tried to do that. That's so funny. That's a hint towards the other podcast I will eventually release into the world. But yeah. I am probably going to get off this now because I do have to use the restroom. And I'm going to finish writing the third article/blog that I made posting wise for my website. If you want to go check that out, it is within the Jess's Palette tab within the website, thisversionofjess.com. And thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I will hopefully have this on Spotify, I think Apple. I will see how that works, but for sure Spotify, and then I will upload this video of the podcast itself onto YouTube. And if there are other platforms, I'll look into that. But I'm going to start with Spotify and then YouTube and go from there. Hopefully it's on like Apple and then other platforms that I don't even know about. But I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did making it. I am so grateful to everyone that's tuned in. I am grateful that you tuned into this channel, for I am the vessel for you right now. We will dive into what that means way later if I decide to remember to do so. Or if you want to remind me on what I mean by that, then do so. I would love to do a little episode about that too, but our next episode will be about like connotative meanings, and then the 3 words: utilize, use, and abuse. Like, how are you going about your actions and how they, like, your intentions as well. Anywho, I love you. As always, much love to you in your journey. I'm doing the love sign and sign language, American Sign Language, and yeah, I love you. Have a good one. Thank you for tuning in. Testing. Hello? I can just do this instead? I was over here gonna do a screen recording of my Discord video chat. Like, I can just do this instead. This is just gonna be bloopers at this point. Oh, I see poetry.